Suns fans, you know what time it is in the PHX.
Empire of the Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Empire of the Suns.
The Empire of the Suns podcast is brought to you by Sonic. Drive to your nearest Sonic location and don't forget to order your half-price drink or slush anytime in the Sonic app.
Hello there, and welcome to the Empire of the Suns podcast. My name is Kellen Olson, joined as always by Kevin Zimmerman. What's up, man?
Man, this season is almost over. How did we do it?
You sure?
I'm not sure.
Doesn't feel like it yet,
sure.
buddy. Doesn't feel like it. This is going to be perhaps our last podcast of the season. You are going away on some much-deserved time off, as you do around this time. You've tempted fate before, Mr. Zimmerman, but now I think you're going to be in the clear. You're looking A-okay with the plan that you have. You're going to be back when? The week after the week of the plan happening, pretty much?
Yeah, midweek.
So we will adjust, of course. If we are sitting here on Saturday, April 12th, and the Phoenix Suns have clinched a play-in spot, we'll come talk to you. But for now, this is probably going to be our last episode of the season, and then we will check back in once the off-season begins. Now, Kevin, there's a wrinkle here where, like, when their season ends, they could do something very quickly that teams tend to do when their season's over.
Yeah.
We are alluding to the possibility of firing their coach. In that case, breaking news, of course, will be coming at you right away. But that's sort of a lay of the land, and the way that I put it on our show last night, it's called Empire of the Suns. That's this one. That's Arizona Sports Night. I was trying for 3 seconds to brace to make sure I didn't do that, and then I did it anyway. I said that I'm at my wit's end with this team, and I mean that in like actually every literal sense. I'm sure listeners could tell, and maybe I said it at some point, but like even like 4 months ago, I was done with this year in terms of not creatively, but just, okay, like this team's not going to be very good, and we'll just see what level of bad they are. Did I think they would be this bad? Did not. But it was clear that they were not going to be.
Was it? Was it December 16th? Is that the
December?
day?
I think early first half of December was the moment when it was like setting in for me that we were headed on the same ride again, and it was just a matter of it was going to be 49 win ride, 52 win ride, because I wasn't riding off the possibility of a lot of wins still, but just knew that we were going to end up in a similar position where we weren't going to feel good about this team's postseason chances. So that's where I was at 4 months ago, and now I'm just at a ends meet creatively. And you and I are both in the business we are in because we are two incredibly creative people. I'm sure that carries over to you in other parts and facets of your life like it does for mine. That's part of why we get paid the money that we do. I'm not saying that like I'm the guy making $4 million who just made the air on opening day to decide the game. I'm saying that like the guy that makes redacted amount of money to do what we do, but we get put in this position because we're very creative people who find new and interesting ways to talk about the teams that we talk about. You and I, at least me, I got nothing.
It's tough. This is where you go if you're a beat writer, if you're even a fan. It's like, what little thing can we be excited about? We can get excited for a 4-game run, which I don't think either of us got super excited. Like, they've magically found the formula and turned this thing around. I think we found some, Osei Guedaro. I looked at the numbers. He's played a lot, played good for what he is. Ryan Dunn, same thing. Colin Gillespie probably has earned a contract.
Still can't believe how bad Bradley Beal played the last 3 games to ruin their form, by the way. Totally his fault.
Yeah. So they're little things, but to your point, it's been a ride that 2 years now, and I'm sure in the front office you have to, one, if you're in the front office, you worried about your job, but also you got to look at yourself and be like, okay, if I do get a chance to change this, to turn this, I'm just going to blow it up because I don't know why I went wrong necessarily. Like, yes, we can look at the roster and say, no, they don't have the long athletic wings that every other team has. Defensively, it makes sense why they're not good. But there are things like the turnovers that you just are remaining baffling. You don't understand why they happen. You don't understand why they happen in the ways they do that are not consistent with the last game that they did it. So
watching loose balls and then having that happen like 3 months ago and not going, hey, we're playing Houston tonight. Maybe we should have an aggressive mindset with attacking the ball, which, to be clear, like Ryan Dunn like nearly jumped over Steven Adams at one point in the first quarter. It was there. But again, story of the year, consistency. I don't even want to waste another breath on that spiel that I have said like 20 times on this podcast at this point. Probably more than that. Probably at least 24 times, probably 3 dozen times.
A lot. Dan Marley was on Bickley and Murata this morning, and he like kind of admitted, and this kind of sounds like he's almost 60, right? He's an old NBA player. He sounds like Charles Barkley complaining about kind of the product. Says he watches college and enjoys it a lot more. But he has a point, like he just talked about the camaraderie is like when you get blown out by 40 points and you're going to dap up the other team, it looks weird. If we look at like, do you remember Arizona Cardinals fans when Derek Anderson was laughing at the end of a blowout that he got embarrassed by, and it just caused controversy and basically defined his entire career with the Arizona Cardinals? I know it's Derek Anderson, but still, it defined his whole career. Laughing, got caught on camera during a blowout. That's kind of like, I think, how fans view this Suns team as far as their competitiveness. They just don't have urgency. They don't ever just get fed up. Like,
why are you doing the first down signal on the catch that you just made when you're down 32? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Chris Paul makes a 3 to cut the lead to 41 or whatever meme. Yeah. And that's not even his team, and he got caught with that. So, yeah, I mean, it's been pretty bad. So I think I will hit you on this. They got 7 games left tonight. They're starting a 3-game swing. Milwaukee, Boston, New York. They play the Spurs.
Yeah, your current events update.
Warriors.
3 straight terrible losses, just horrible. After the 4-game mirage, as I called it on ArizonaSports.com. We spent a lot of time last episode pumping up Ryan Dunn, Oso Godaro, Colin Gillespie, Cody Martin, rightfully so, for the work they did in sparking that. It's over. Spark's gone. And now they're just running into a talent deficiency. That's really what is catching up to them, amongst many other things.
We really buried the lead, yes.
Kevin Durant got hurt. Houston was up 35, I think, at that point. So that game was going that direction regardless. He twisted his left ankle pretty bad. Did not look great. He's going to miss at least a week, according to Shams Charania. The thought was that the last time we see Kevin Durant in a Suns jersey? That's the thing. That's like 8-minute conversation we could have right now, but I'll condense it into 30 seconds for you just to be nice and tidy. I think he's going to play if the Suns are still in it in the last week because it's Kevin Durant. He wants to play basketball. Mm-hmm. If they're out of it, I don't think he will play. So we'll see. Now, in what is the never-ending nightmare of covering this season, the Kings lost last night, the Mavericks lost last night, and I really do think with the way this year has been that it's going to come down to Game 82 still.
Yeah.
That is my prediction.
Yeah.
I legitimately believe that the season that feels like it's never going to end is in fact going to do its best to never end and will go as long as it possibly can. I'm getting a bit cyclical here, to say the least, with what I'm talking about there, but again, I am someone who, to explain my side of it for the optimistic Suns fans listening or for Suns personnel listening, I am someone who really finds legitimate joy and happiness in writing about basketball and covering basketball. So to have that, just for lack of a better phrase, taken away from me for most of the year, there was the 3 games where Bol went nuts, and I was like, okay, cool. Someone's breaking out. This is great. I'll write a story. And then his minutes were gone because he started doing the stuff that has him not playing in the NBA for the most part. So it couldn't even get back to when he was at home, when we could talk to him. And it's just been that type of year. And yeah, just creatively, some of the stuff I tried to get done earlier this year that I couldn't, that was more positive stuff. It's been a really frustrating year. So kind of letting some of that out right now. And I apologize if I'm being a little too harsh to the people who are understandably very emotionally committed to this in many senses and have put in a lot of work still to try and make this year work. But it ain't working, and it's been a drag to watch and to cover. And just from the basis of talking about it, my timeline consists of like colleagues, coworkers, like the newsbreakers, people like that or whatever, but I make sure that I follow a couple dozen Suns fans that I've known through the years and stuff. The timeline is like the tumbleweeds during a game now. Like no one, like the diehard Suns fans who have been like tweeting along with every game for like the last like 6, 7, 8, 9 years that I've been doing this. They are barely they're like just tweeting like, oh, looked at the box score. Good thing I didn't decide to watch the game. Like that's when you know it's bad, when like your true diehard fans are tuning out. Like I don't know what our numbers are on the pod, but I'm sure they're way down over the last couple of months because people have just started to tune out. And they're like, when are we doing X? When are we firing the coach? When are we trading this guy? Like that's what everyone is sort of going to be waiting for. And that is when we will be having those conversations, because with that sort of thought in mind, it's like, okay, we could repeat the conversation 6 times over the next 6 weeks, or we could have a fresh organic one when everyone's actually going to be listening. So that's what we're going to do.
To keep it in the now, you already hit on what I was going to do. I was going to be like, Kellen, you think this is going to get dragged out, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I think so, too. I don't know if that means they make the plan, but that's going to be dragged out.
Not even because of like schedule or like who's coming back or whatever. It's just the basketball gods.
Yeah.
I think they're playing like a little joke on us.
The Kings are playing like the Wizards, and it's not going to matter anyway.
The Mavericks had a real starting lineup for the first time in like a month.
Yeah, they're trying
night, and they lost to Brooklyn, who is tanking.
Oh, man. Fantasy update from Kevin's life. 1 fantasy. Congrats, Kevin. Quentin Grimes was needed. I had Scottie Pippen Jr. on my team. Oh, by the way, Grizzlies fired their coach. That's going to be many Suns fans are going to be interested in that. But by the way,
it's going to be funny when they hire Monty Williams again, basically.
Taylor Jenkins.
That is apparently what the story was there.
Oh.
Everything I read from Memphis was just you could copy and paste Monty in.
Yeah.
Great at building the culture, developed young talent, awesome with the players, had a great relationship with the guys, adjustments, rotations, butting heads with the front office.
Fired all of his assistants.
Yeah, they like brought in different, that stuff was more like, okay, like the front office really did not vibe with him when they brought in different assistants that he didn't have approval on. But it is going to entertain. I am going to get a couple laughs out of that, especially after the Monty story that I wrote when he got fired, and I took a lot of crap for it. I will be petty about that 100%. I will be if they hire Taylor Jenkins.
By the way, is a former Bud assistant, so they could also hire him as an assistant if they want to keep Bud. Quick math, though, you can correct me if I'm wrong. To the point going back of the Suns will be with the Mavs and Kings to the very end of this, wondering. But they have tiebreakers on pretty much everything that I looked up, and I believe I'm right. So look, let's see. Sacramento. Okay, this is 3-way tiebreakers. Sacramento actually has the best record. Suns are in the middle. Dallas locked, but they're pretty much, 9, 10, 11, so it doesn't matter. The Suns would be in the playoffs in that scenario. Suns have the tiebreakers.
Postseason.
Yes.
Postseason is what we're calling it when they're out, when like the play-in's still a thing. You're getting in the playoffs through the postseason. No, it's all good.
They have the individuals. Even if the Kings won that last game, they would be split for the season. And then you go down, it's division record, and the Kings division record's 4-10.
I think the Suns have it clinched already.
It's clinched already.
They just need to win that game to get in if it did come down. If they're a game behind Sacramento or a game up on or tied with Sacramento on that last game, they just need to win that game and they're in.
Yep. So yeah, they actually are advantageous in terms of tiebreakers. So this could get dragged out.
We'll have lots of content for when the season is over. Obviously, I think we are going to start with like head coach watch and see sort of what happens there if the Suns are interested in paying 4 head coaches at the same time instead of the 3 that they're doing right now. I'm not making that sort of witty remark and like dry, sarcastic remark as a way suggesting I don't think they should fire Mike Budenholzer. But again, like that's the sort of thing that could be going on here. And then we'll just have, I think like the main thing that I'm going to be looking at, the 2 main things I'm going to be looking at is the future of the draft and looking through all of their sort of not a regrading or a look back, whatever, but just a reminder of how the Suns got into the positions they did with their draft picks and where they are at. Like we know the 25 story, which is like they got Kevin Durant. never expected the 25 pick to burn them like this early. I think even like the biggest pessimist of the Durant trade wouldn't have thought like, oh man, there's a chance that could be top 4. Like no one thought that was going to be in the lottery.
Especially if you showed me Kevin Durant's production this year.
Exactly. Yeah. It's been a little weird. And then the second thing will be obviously with the tremendous amount of reporting and chatter around Durant's future. I'm just going to take a look around at like the landscape and see the teams that could be checking in on him, which I had a story ready in January when it was really bad and it looked like it could be happening before the deadline. But then his price tag honestly changed. Like I have it like lower than I did 3 months ago. And then like I had Devin Booker included in that too, just because like I was like, I don't know what they're going to do. And then the ESPN story comes out where Ishbia is more or less publicly saying like Devin Booker's going nowhere. Again, what can change this summer? I'm not going to sit here and like entirely rule it out. We're just going to wait and see what happens. But those are like the main 2 pieces of content we'll have. And then we'll come back and sort of reassess and like bullet point, I think, not what needs to happen, but what we're watching for over like the next 2 to 3 months, because there is they probably want to get rid of Bradley Beal, right? How do you do that? There are ways to do it besides attaching 3 first-round picks to him and going through the no-trade clause, which will be interesting to discuss.
Are we going to get a pod before I get a chance to ask you before this possibly happens? Should Bud be the coach?
This is genuinely the first time I have thought about this. I have not thought about this once.
I don't have a good answer for you either, and I'll give you a second. I honestly don't think he's the problem, but it's the same thing as Frank Vogel, where if Book is not bought in, then you cannot have him back.
If money is truly like not a factor at all, that's why I hesitated. The only reason I hesitated is because of money. If money is, like he's got to go, just because the way this team drastically underperformed. And also, when you look at the 3 teams that he took on, I don't know if you guys will remember this, but I believe it was the Igor year when he was one of the lead candidates. Budenholzer was, and there was like, it didn't like Sarver go see him or something to that extent. And it was basically like I'm going to go coach the team that might be in the finals in a couple of years, as opposed, and then it turns out these 2 teams meet in the finals where he does win the finals. But that inkling kind of gave me the indication that he's not really around for a rebuilding situation. This isn't going to be a rebuild. It's going to be like a retool and reload situation. We'll talk more about if we think that's the best idea or not, or if they should just go the other route. But yeah, my long answer is that they should.
Okay.
Just like you need someone.
We need to flip into 2025, 26. We need to wipe everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to clean as much house as possible, honestly.
I asked you that because even if we're
going
to
leader,
podcast again,
man. They just need a leader in that room.
Do you see how JJ Redick is doing well? Like, he's a smart basketball guy, but also I think like he can hold LeBron accountable, for example. And that's the type of hire where it looks super. It's like the JJ Redick hire looks good in the NBA now, and then the NBA coaches, like old school guys, are going to college. It's a weird world. Everything's backwards and flips upside down in terms of coaching versus players in college and NBA now, to me.
Cats talk?
Sure. Duke's really good.
Yeah. We're 2 U of A grads. We love U of A basketball, and we selfishly take this time on the podcast from time to time, maybe like 5 times a year, honestly, to do this, and even less if they're not really doing things in the tourney, but they did this year. So turn off the pod now if you don't care. I don't say that like being like mean. Just go ahead. Totally cool, man. Like, we'll take our lower listen time or whatever the hell the analytic is that we're going to lose on that. I don't know. I don't care. You don't care either because we get to talk Cats. Yeah, Duke's really good. Everything that we talked about, the only really big switch was that Carter Bryant had just got eaten alive by Cooper Flagg, which I did not see coming at all. No. We saw him. Look, I'm not saying that like the power wing from Texas Tech is the same as Cooper freaking Flagg or whatever, but we saw Carter defend bigger guys than him and still
Yeah.
and Cooper Flack just ran through him in a way where I was like, is Carter going to come back to school after this?
Yeah.
Like, because his whole thing is defense, and that did not look good.
Staying in front of him, that kind
at
of
all.
thing, yeah.
But Duke was just, and their defense as a whole on the game wasn't that great. Their offense wasn't really that great, honestly. Caleb Love was incredible. Just saw that coming. I just had a feeling with the matchup and just the stakes and everything that he was just going to step up. Very like cliche stuff, but I thought that was coming. Duke shot 60 freaking percent. Even with like not great defense, they shot 60%. They hit a ton of threes. I think they shot over 50 from three. And then Cooper Flack had the best performance of the tournament. Like I feel the Final Four is this weekend. The Final Four is this weekend, and he will have had the best individual performance of the tournament. And then, his actual stat line, no one has done that in the tournament before ever. In the men's tournament.
Or any...
Shout out Breanna Stewart, who did it for UConn. She's pretty good at hoop.
I think I saw a stat. No one had done that stat line except Ed O'Bannon, 90s? I don't know what year. Ever in like an NCAA game. So he's for real. I do not see anyone else being the number one pick over him. But yeah, I mean, Arizona, I think actually proved that they're pretty good considering all things. And I do think that Duke Houston will probably be like my biggest like excited to watch game of this tournament. And I don't know. What would it be? Florida Duke or Florida Houston could be the other way.
Do you agree with what I wrote?
Which part?
So I wrote a story that night because I was at opening day for the D-backs, which kind of turned into this wild thing where you never know the tourney schedule, so it just worked out that way. Where I believe that there have basically been two eras so far of Tommy Lloyd ball. The one has been the leftovers from Sean Miller, which that went super well, legitimately. And then there was the Caleb Love era, and now it's whatever this is, because Caleb was far and away, like you think about their second best player compared to Caleb, like the gap between them was insane. Compliments Caleb, but also a diss at their lack of just balance as a team.
Yeah.
So now you go into this era, which is whatever it is going to be. I don't know what it's going to be defined by, but my kind of whole point was we've seen players get better under Lloyd, but in specifically the one thing that has harmed all of these teams, even going back to the best teams that he had earlier, is just aggression offensively and guys who attack the rim and just making your offense in terms of aggression be more than just getting to the free throw line and getting out in transition. Like you have to have consistent like drive and kick stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really what's been missing for this team. And you go back to the only reason that the Coloco to Bellis team worked is because they had a solidified high-low game. This team did not. I think with Koa Pete and Krivas, they're going to probably try and bring that back again. But they need more on the perimeter. So we'll wait and see. The good news is this is Arizona's best recruiting class in like over 5 years and probably more right now. And there's Burris. I don't know how to
say it.
Pronounce it, but combo guard, or more of a two guard from what I read.
Yeah.
5-star, deciding between a couple of places. Arizona has a big opening for him if he wants to jump right into it. There's the kid from the Netherlands who's a high recruit as well. And then Koa Pete is the 4-time local state champion who had like maybe, from everything Damon and others have said, like maybe the best high school basketball career locally here. He's like a 6'8" mid-post guy who just does winter stuff everywhere, which sounds great to me. I'm totally on board. But we don't know what the rest of the team is going to look like at all. It seems like they made a decision with Henry Vesar to pay him as much as they were willing to for their third best big when he is their best big. So they continue like this Krivas thing, man. I'm ready to be wrong next year, but holy smokes, we were not wrong last year. We were not wrong the year before. They keep forcing this guy down our freaking throats. Awaka was good, but would I rather have Vesar or Awaka? I would rather have
I'd rather have Krivas.
I'd rather have the first round pick again.
Yeah.
Like, again, just like it's very simple. Like there's the guys who are going to be that much better, and I think it was Vicini who tweeted like, "Wow, you pretty much never see an NBA 7-footer hit the transfer portal." You sure don't. Yeah, you sure don't, Sam. And then at guard, we have no idea. Bradley, I guess, is going to be back. I haven't seen any indication he's going anywhere yet. KJ Lewis at the portal. Thank you for your service.
Kind of had a rough go in that.
I think he's hitting the portal to get a bigger role when all he had to do was just be better in his current role, and he would have had a bigger role this season, but he just wasn't. There was the Texas Tech opener in Big 12 play where it was like, oh.
He's here.
And then
he wasn't.
It was just kind of inconsistent. He had a rough one against Duke, too. So do you agree with my take there, though, that, like, I don't know how it's going to go. Like, I could see them finishing 9th in the Big 12. I could see them finishing 1st. I have no idea.
I think they'll be middle rung at worst. I think they'll have a good team. Burries.
I think Burries is...
He would just take on the Caleb Love combo guard, can play make. I saw some good things about his defense and playmaking where he's not just a scorer. And then the other 4-star recruit, and I don't know if Bryce James is ready, but the wings definitely question marks, maybe portal guys, but they'll have guys. I just don't buy the Krivas being your best player again. Koa Pete should be in theory, but I'm apprehensive to see how that happens after the Carter Bryant thing. I guess Carter Bryant could return, but that's expecting too much. He should go.
Yeah, like, is Koa Pete going to start for one?
I hope so.
I would hope so. Like, I have to hesitate because Carter Bryant made so much sense to start exactly with
Trey Townsend's out of eligibility.
Good luck with him with his future endeavors, with whatever may behold him in his life, whether it be basketball or non-basketball things. Yeah, like, you should just start him and make him the hub of your offense from everything I've heard about him. But like, they're probably just going to want to run it through Krivas again, which that worked at the start of the year. Now he got hurt, but yeah, we'll see. As you can tell, I'm just apprehensive because it's just been 4 years and it's been these two things so far, and this is like, okay, unless they land some crazy transfer portal guy that I don't know about, like Donovan Dent would have been a name that would have been like the Caleb Love-esque type of guy in terms of his caliber, but he went to UCLA, I believe. So
to continue my rant about how the NBA and college are upside down and backwards, like, the college game should work like, I am doing everything I can to keep, to your point, my NBA prospects on my roster for as long as possible. Money, NIL money, whatever. Playing them and starting them, do that. Then at least, worst case, they go out the door and I say, I developed that NBA guy in 1 year. Instead, you lose your 2 NBA prospects to the portal. I consider KJ Lewis kind of an NBA prospect. Possibly your third.
I ranted on this last night. Like, imagine if Solomon Hill transferred after 2 years, you know?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been in the NBA. And then he went on to make like $100 million in the NBA. But he stayed for 4 years, got much better. Kyle Fogg, I think, had like a cup of coffee in the league. Mm-hmm. Like, he was just like he didn't look like he should be on like the freaking roster when he was a freshman or a sophomore, whatever it was. Like, I was like, why is this guy on the floor?
They barely added him because they needed him.
And then he was an all-conference, like, #1 scorer. He was awesome in his last year. So there's countless examples of guys developed through the program, especially for Arizona. And that's just not going to happen anymore, because if you're not putting up the numbers you're expected to in your freshman or sophomore year, like, Solomon Hill averaged 8 points per game as a sophomore. He would have hit the portal. So it's sad, because that's one of my favorite things to watch is guys grow year to year. Mm-hmm. And is there anyone on Arizona right now that is currently doing that? Vesar would have been the guy, but he's gone.
Bradley's is what he is.
He was already at Alabama, though.
Yeah. I see what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, like, did they bring in anyone? Like, KJ was the other one.
Yeah. Vesar, you could have counted. Krivas. You can enjoy some Krivas development next year, Kellen.
Watching Caleb Tarczewski, like, learn how to set a screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that type of stuff. Just not going to get it anymore because these kids are just going to keep moving and getting money. And you know what? Good on them. It's just bad for the game.
Yes.
It's good for them. It's bad for the game.
True. All right.
Enjoy your... where are you going?
Nowhere.
Oh, you're staying put?
I'm hanging out with
your
2-month-old.
Lame.
Yeah.
Whack.
Yeah. More diaper changing, bottle feeding. You know, the usual. I'll be watching. I'll be listening. I'll be reading.
Send the bat signal your way if it's needed. I will judge how needed it is. If it's looking like Game 82 is indeed the dealio, then I will set up another bat signal because we don't need to waste your time with that. But we'll look for you in a week and a half's time.
2.
2?
Technically. Have to.
Oh, it is only Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's right. Days of the week are going to start to make a lot more sense to me in about 2 weeks. I'm pretty stoked. I'm going to have like actual Monday through Friday structure. Looking forward to it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, especially if you're at this point. Jeez Louise. We really do
Louise.
appreciate it. We are thinking about you, the Suns Wildcat fans or just the Suns fans still listening. We hope you've been able to endure or find other remedies in your life to make up for this season, other joy for you to find. Because your basketball team, unfortunately, has not been able to give it to you. We'll be back in 2 weeks, like Kevin said, or not. Probably not. Okay, bye.